just for fun, I want to show you another version of this. And this one, oh, this one was the failure on Archival. You'll see the details not as clear as the Versafine ones. And then I missed a couple spots, but that's okay. I just want to show you another way to color. So we have our distress minis here, and I store the little poofs in the bottom of them. I'm a little bit OCD. You can blend them and it doesn't hurt, but I just like to have, you know, designated colors. So attach them to your little blender. I'm gonna use some different colors this time too. So let's just try. You're supposed to start blending off the page to make the blend better, but since I'm doing certain things, I'm just gonna blend it right on here, make it quicker. All right, so we got one yellow building. Throw a little bit more yellow on this building. See how quick this is to color? Good enough, right? I don't want to add it into the wet, but let's add some vintage photo again. Oops. Well, there you go. We'll fix it later. I don't have a vintage photo dauber, but grab one. Got a bunch of clean ones. I guess I haven't used vintage photo for this before. Let's see. So let's just lay down a really light base. Okay, so just kind of sponge it on there. Doesn't matter if you put it on the mat or just directly on the mini. Okay, this little yellow. That's mustard seed again. See? That one's walnut stain. So add some more brown on top of it. And remember, they're water soluble, so you can always dilute it a little bit if you want to. Okay. We'll make this one a little brighter. So I have some chip sapphire too that I want to try out on here. Let's add a little blue. Why not? Okay, so smudge this a little bit, kind of like to diffuse it, I'd say. Let's make this building blue. Okay, buildings don't have to be yellow-brown, but let's make this one blue. And this card's obviously going to turn out a little bit darker than the first two, but that's okay. Just wanted to show a different way of coloring this than the pens. What do you think for this one? A little bit of brick, maybe? It's not brick. I have, what is this? Aged mahogany, but I wanted brick. I just couldn't find it. All right, so we've added a little bit of different color to this one. Maybe somewhere on here. Let's make this one a little bit. Oh, that's the blue. Okay, well, good enough. Whatever, doesn't matter. So I'm gonna show how to kind of like blend this out with the bigger brush. Okay, so make sure this time we're gonna make sure it's wet, because what we're gonna do is kind of remove some of the color. So, see? Just smush it around there. Kind of like painting. Ooh, that's kind of pretty. This one has got a lot of yellow, so I'm just gonna try to spread it into the side buildings here. I don't know. That's also where the mistake is, so I don't know why the heck I highlighted it, but whatever. And then throw in a little bit of black soot for the balcony. It kind of ties it together. This looks like kind of a mess, but oh, too much black soot. It's okay. Some things don't work as well as other things, so. But just wanted to show kind of how you can use these tools to make a background. Wipe off some of that black soot. And it looks like the tops of these buildings need a little bit more color, because I didn't quite get them when I was using my dauber, because it doesn't do detail as much. But I can make like the roof kind of blue. I used some weathered wood pen there too, actually. I like that blue. Weathered wood. So there we go with the blues. And since we have you on here, we'll just throw in the greens as well, so you can kind of see my green with the mowed lawn and Lucky Clover. Let's throw in some green. And again, the stamped image wasn't as clear, so I kind of just wanted to see what would happen if I used the daubers instead. Some brown in here. And let's make the fence brown. Oh, it's red. Okay, red, brown. And clear this off a little bit. And then let's do the green again for the grass. Okay. I'm gonna make this blue as well. So I might want a little darker, I don't know, but let's do the salty ocean again. With the chip sapphire, let's do that. Make it a little darker sky. Maybe it's nighttime in this hood, I don't know. All right, bigger brush, and you can use an even bigger brush than that. That's totally fine. But, see, there's where I dropped the ink pad. Oh well, you don't notice it that much. So I made the sky a lot darker than in the prior one. Just kind of cover that up a little bit. Almost looks like a rainy day here. So maybe that's what we'll do with this one. Make it like a rainy day card. But there we have it with the daubers. This one does look a lot less detailed than the other one. I feel like when we dry it a bit, you can take the actual pens, like Vintage Photo, and color in some of these like details to make it pop a little bit more. I mean, I guess you can do it when it's wet too, but the more you kind of define these things, the more it'll add to the card. And don't worry, because I'm gonna glue over this eventually anyway. I might even use some glaze and kind of show how that pops. So stay tuned, we'll get to that in a moment. All right, we're back. So remember our muddy, I'd want to say disaster, as opposed to our nice clean Versamark, nice stamped image that we could just glue right onto something. We're gonna fix this one, because this one was the one with archival ink that's not as detailed, and then you'll see I missed the spot stamping. We're gonna glue stuff on here and make this a great card. So what I'm doing, I stamped Happy Housewarming with these stamps that I got long ago. You just stick them together and they work. And then I'm gonna just grunge this up a little bit with the same color palette, this mustard seed and some Vintage Photo, and then I'll be back. Also, I grunged the edges with this little tool. I think there's different brands of them that basically you just go like this and it grunges it up. So I'm gonna do the Vintage Photo more around the edges of it. So things were looking okay. I stippled on my distress inks, and then I thought I'd be crafty and throw on some distress embossing glaze, which is antique linen. So it's actually really cool now, except now it doesn't match. So I'm gonna emboss a couple of these houses to make it match with my embossing dauber. All right. So our disaster is almost finished here. Still looks muddy. It still didn't match. I don't know why I used too much fired brick. Maybe I should have glazed some of that. I might still. So anyway, here's what it started kind of as. I was really gonna cover this up and move this up here to cover up the mess, but I think it's okay. We're gonna mount it and I'll come back with the finished product, but see how it looks on different backgrounds? I think I'm gonna use this light blue to lighten it up a bit, and I'm gonna grunge the edges with some brown to kind of tie it in. But you could very easily make this more of a masculine card by putting it on a darker paper. But since this is a summertime party and it's not for a guy, I think that the blue's good. I'm gonna go and emboss this. I actually ended up using the Distress Embossing pen because the dauber was like too big for those two things. So I used the pen on the windows. I think I'm gonna pen in some stuff on this house, and maybe, I hate to highlight the mistake, but I might, just to kind of get some of that color in there more. So we'll be back with the finished products. All right, so we have improved this card. You'll note I put a little Tim Holtz embellishment on here from his ideology. Remember the hole there from the bad stamping? And then I took my dauber and daubed some vintage photo around the end to kind of tie in the browns. So we could either mount this on a blue or this kind of copper color. And I think I'm not going to mount it yet. I'm going to determine who I'm going to give it to. A couple of my friends have houses that they just got. So anyway, I'm not going to mount it yet, but just wanted to show you how you can fix a mistake. So the lessons we've learned here are how to paint with distress markers and watercolor brushes, or how to paint with just going like that, using the distress markers and distress inks. So there you have it. Thanks. See you later.